Hello and welcome back to Proper Chaps, Proper Chat, the pub talk show that is not PC. Today I am with, again, I being Ashley, I'm with Will. It's been a while, mate.
It has been a while, I can't even remember the last time I was on.
8.
I feel like it was 7, 8, around that time.
Yeah,
it was around the UFC fights, when the lockdown UFC fights were going on. I remember because we did quite a few conversations about that.
This is episode 21.
21, wow.
Oh, no, we're getting there.
14 without me, how could you?
Lewis isn't with us today because it's the last day before national lockdown, so he's gone and got really fucking pissed.
And is not in a fit state to be doing a video, unfortunately, so you're stuck with me, guys, but we're going to make it a good one.
Hopefully,
We've got plenty to talk about today, so we're gonna get into it, and hopefully you guys enjoy. Obviously, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff. You know, make sure you're liking us on all the different social medias.
And also remember to be aware that we may cause offence, but you don't have to listen. So, getting straight into it. Lockdown. We're also doing a podcast in my new car.
Yes.
It's completely silent, and we've got the heated seat on,
yeah,
and the fucking heating's on, and it's lovely.
It's madness.
We're not fucking having to turn everything on and off
it's
just
madness,
to do
guys.
the windows up. I love it.
Electricity is the future, mate. I tell you honestly, I feel like
it was in the 1800s.
I feel like Thomas Edison inventing the light bulb all over again. Do you know what I mean? Bless his heart. Because honestly,
his lightning rod.
Crazy shit. But yeah, fucking honestly, stuff like this is, you know, gonna be the future. The reality is a lot of this stuff is gonna become obsolete in the future. You know, they're on about diesels. What, 2040 is it? Something like that.
Yeah, they want to get rid of all petrol and diesels by 2040. But
2040.
Technology on electric needs to get a lot better. Like my car, bear in mind my car's not massively expensive, but 165-mile range, I'm making it work, and it works really well. But for some people that might be
you got to play within your parameters at the end of the day, you know, but there are options out there like hybrid stuff like that, and obviously you know, we are in a position where at the end of the day, you know,
as long as you've got good credit, you get finance. So even if a car's a little bit more expensive, it can be a little bit
exactly. And also, I mean, the conversations that we've had obviously previously, before, the amount of money you're saving on fuel and stuff like that, I mean, it's craziness, you know. I must admit, so just a little bit of background for all of you listeners, I've done a bit of mechanics and stuff back in the day, and we used to play around and modify our cars, and we've all done a bit of work and fiddled around and burnt our fingers messing around with sound systems that we shouldn't have been playing around with, and all sorts of stuff like that, and not disconnecting batteries.
I remember when I de-restricted my moped at the age of 16, and we were living in Arbery, which is like a fucking council estate in central Cambridge. And I went to, what's that fucking, it's not McKay's, is it? It's at Wilco's.
Wilco.
Went to I didn't have a specific specific tool I needed to de-restrict my moped. So we went to Wilco on our mopeds, bought the tool we needed, went home, took it out of its packaging so fucking carefully, de-restricted the moped, washed the tool, put it all back, took it back and got my money back.
Yeah, I remember that. Oh, we were so bad back in the day. We were terrible, weren't we?
It's a cheap way to do it, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, honestly. Well, I mean, I thinking back to that time, it always makes me laugh, because obviously back then we didn't necessarily realise the danger we were posing on ourselves, but now you think back and you think, how did we survive some of that stuff? I mean, we had crazy mopeds. I mean, mine did what, 73?
Yeah.
Yours did like 60 something.
Yeah, on a fucking moped. That's pretty fucking quick.
Yeah, for a 50cc twist. Well, mine wasn't 57, mine wasn't 56, but for a twist and go moped, you know, it was crazy stuff, and we were absolutely nuts. We really were. But we enjoyed it and we had fun, and because there was a group of us, it just made it that much more fun, didn't it?
5 of us, weren't there?
There was a good 4 or 5 of us that all had mopeds at the same time.
And now I'm driving an Eco Warriors car, but saving money. So
how times change, mate. How times change.
Though.
The thing is, if you'd have talked to us at 16 years old and you said to us that this is the car you're going to have in your future, we'd have probably laughed at you.
Yeah, mate.
But the reality of life itself, and also, you know, the reality of the future, is that these things are taking over. I mean, you know, like the way this conversation started. So Ash opened the bonnet for me the other day, and I tell you what,
you can't.
It's like taking the back of a laptop. Yeah. It's like taking the back of a laptop, because
unless you know what you're doing, you don't have a fucking clue.
It's gobbledygook. I mean, I could tell you what it said because it had a label on it, but that's about it. Like, it's crazy.
It doesn't help that it's built by the Chinese.
Well, I mean, it probably does, mate, because I've fixed iPhones before. How much harder can it be?
It's just a big iPhone.
It's just a giant iPhone, that's all it is. That's the screen there. We'll figure it out.
So, getting on to some bits and pieces. We are on the eve of another lockdown.
Yes, which is absolutely crazy. I mean, I'll be honest, I'm probably sure there's plenty of people out there that would agree with me as well. I honestly didn't think it would happen purely for an economic basis, because
no, I didn't think it would.
We've taken such a hit in the first, economic round. There's been so many businesses that are just don't exist anymore. I mean, there's so many places you go around and they're just gone.
Yeah, and there's going to be a lot more, unfortunately, if people can't get paid. Luckily, they've extended furlough, haven't they? 80%.
Well, I mean, this is it. I mean, obviously, I'm kind of lucky where I am that the company I work for are quite diverse in their field, because the entertainment industry in general has taken such a hit.
Soft play
such a hit.
Going to be. You can't do that during lockdown. See, with me, we've adapted slightly, and I was quite lucky, because as soon as I found out we were going into lockdown, and the fact that I haven't been at my latest job for long enough, I was like, my furlough is going to be shit.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be like 600 quid. It's not going to cover my bills.
No.
Waste of time. So I messaged my director, and because we're doing click and collect on cars.
Oh, wow.
And delivering cars. So I was like, look, I'm not going to be able to afford furlough. I would like to volunteer to stay in the dealership. So if we do go into another lockdown, I want to be in there, and I'm just going to scoop up every fucking inquiry, every deal that comes through, because people in Cambridge are still going to be buying.
Yeah, there's still going to be interest, 100%. Yeah. I mean, look at what happened to the used car market at the start of the first lockdown. I mean, there were some cars that were selling for...
it boomed.
Well, I mean, even at the start of lockdown, there was cars that were going for £500, £1,000. I mean, there's cars that I've literally bought for £300. I've seen it up for sale, and I've turned up, and these exact same cars that people are now selling for like £3,000, I've bought with scrap money. Do you know what I mean? And they're no different. They're no different in any way, but people are selling for like crazy money at the moment. I mean, used BMWs back in the day, if you wanted a cheap rear-wheel drive car, you could find a 20-year-old BMW for like £300.
Yeah.
Now,
no, not a chance.
Less than £1,500 with an MOT, no chance. Not one you'd want to touch anyway.
No, it's like Andrew. Andrew's like that, and he loves a fucking £2,000 motor.
What can I say? We love our rust buckets. We are bad for that. I mean, there's two.
I like a car.
There's two sides of the scales. Yeah, there's two sides of the scales, and unfortunately, we both go to an extreme. You love your new, and
I love a car I don't have to worry about.
And it makes perfect sense. Whereas I like a car that has its foibles. I like a car that has its problems and has its little characteristics and tweaks, and maybe I've got to fix this, but I put a bit of spanner time into it, and I get more of a feel for the car. And I mean, I've had cars that I've literally picked up for bargain money because something's been wrong.
That's an easy fix for you.
I've got a Volkswagen Polo. This is when I worked at the when I was working for the hotel industry. I got a Volkswagen Polo from a guy that worked there for £100 with 9 months MOT on it. But the horn wouldn't work, and there was a problem with the headlights. Basically, when you broke, the headlights would go bright.
Really?
Yeah, like genuinely. So basically, I managed to figure it all out. So there was a earth fault behind the steering wheel. Basically a wire had been pinched, and it just rubbed over like 10, 15 years, and it had obviously just like evaporated. Took that cable out, put a new bit in, put a bit of heat shrink over it. I ended up selling that car for nearly £500.
Nice. Quid's in.
But that was kind of easy to do back then. That was obviously before I'd become a dad and that kind of stuff, and I was able
when
to
you actually had time.
The time and the effort, and that's the key thing.
We're currently doing a podcast at 11:15.
I mean, this is it.
Because we don't have time during the day.
Because there is no time to fit this in, but we're still trying to dedicate time to making sure that we can put out content for you guys. We're not promising that this content is going to be top notch in any way, shape or form, but we're going to chat some shit and you guys are going to enjoy it. So it is what it is.
Yeah, we're telling you, enjoy it.
You will enjoy it, okay? Yeah. I will come there and I will make you enjoy it.
So, lockdown 2.0. What the fuck?
Yeah, I can't believe it. It's craziness, and I apologise for my madness in advance, because the idea of being stuck in my house again for another 4 weeks is.
Oh, I'm quite lucky. I'm going to be at work, but still, I wouldn't want to be fucking stuck.
No, at home. I mean, luckily I've managed to find some work for like 2 days a week that's going to at least get me out of the house for a little bit. But yeah, I mean, luckily, obviously, I've got Lily, and she's a right handful at the moment, and hopefully she'll keep me nice and busy. And yeah, life is kind of mental, and
kids always keep you busy.
Exactly, that's it. Keeps you working, keeps you going. So
I saw something the other day. I actually saved it on my phone, and I wanted to go through this because I don't know how accurate it is.
Go
It was saved by... I saved it from a picture off Facebook that's a clipping from a newspaper.
Okay.
And it's COVID deaths in September 2020 compared to all deaths in 2020 in the UK.
Right.
So we'll start at the bottom, shall we? So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 causes of death.
13 classes
Yeah.
of death, yeah.
So we'll start at the bottom. Road accidents. 130 road accidents in September that killed people.
Not a massive amount, actually. That's not bad.
Good.
That's
it's
not bad.
like it's manageable, I would say.
Good.
Any death's a tragedy, but
Of course.
it's inevitable, and that's what.
But I
people
feel
need
like
to
that shows
realise.
a good level of UK road safety, yeah, definitely.
Suicides.
Okay, probably a fairly higher number, I would imagine.
475 suicides just in September.
That is
Right.
truly saddening. That really is. I mean, apparently it equates to about, I think it's like one man every 2 hours commits suicide. And
I'd like to do I've been in a situation myself where I felt suicide was my only option. So I would I've got past that, and I've medicated for a while, and then I stopped medication, and then I do meditation instead, and like sleep hypnosis, stuff that will help me when I'm feeling a bit down.
That's
right?
it. Everyone's got their own way.
Yeah, surrounding myself by good people, positive people as well, really
good vibes.
helps.
Yeah, good vibes.
But I'd like to do an episode on mental health.
I think we could definitely do that. I think that'd be an interesting episode. Yeah. Let us know, guys. Let us know if that's something you'd be interested in, something you'd want us to follow up on.
Third from bottom.
Yep.
COVID-19.
Oh wow.
690 deaths in September.
That's crazy. That's not even that much less than suicide.
Much more than suicide.
Much more, sorry, than suicide.
Yeah.
That's mad.
Above that, prostate cancer, 861.
Holy crap.
Blood cancer, 902. Ill-defined conditions, 1,106. Pneumonia and flu, non-COVID related. So these are people that haven't been diagnosed with COVID within 28 days, right?
Right.
1,132.
Wow, that's a fucking big number.
Colon cancer, 1,285. Respiratory diseases like COPD, asthma, that sort of stuff. 1,285.
Wow.
Strokes and blood clots, 2,120.
Holy, in 1 month?
In 1 month. Lung cancer, 2,324 deaths.
Damn.
Heart disease, 4,104 deaths. And dementia, 4,449 deaths. So
That's
everyone,
crazy.
Don't get me wrong,
That's crazy.
COVID is not a nice thing.
No.
I fully admit it's out there. But when you're taking into account that they can still sell cigarettes that cause lung cancer, and it's killing 2,324 people.
Isn't tobacco items and stuff like that still classed as essential?
It's still classed as essential, right?
It's madness.
Just in September, the fact that heart disease, led by, could be anything from genetic, fast food, too much sugar, shitty foods, fizzy drinks. All that's not really, it's regulated, but it's not. We're not shutting the fucking fast food industry down.
Also, you've got like McDonald's and stuff like that turning around and being like, we're reducing our entire menu because we don't want to run our stock down. Yeah.
Well, it's not just that. They've reduced their price throughout lockdown by 50%.
Madness.
So the government are allowing them to stay open as an essential business when really you can afford to get food from supermarkets rather than McDonald's. That's not necessarily essential, but they bring in a lot of money.
A massive argument against that as well is how can they close pubs down that serve food that's actual like proper meal on a plate,
food,
like,
fruit and vegetables.
Even if they're just banging it in the microwave in the kitchen, it kind of doesn't really matter because at the end of the day, at least it's still getting served on a plate. And you're getting a proper meal, so to speak. How can that, if they're not classed as a substantial meal, not be allowed?
Because they're not doing drive-through or click and collect.
But do you see what I mean though? I don't see how that is a fair comparison between the two, because at the end of the day, they're still following the 2 metre distance rule and they're still following those regulations that were put in place originally. Okay, yeah, restrict opening times, stuff like that, I can completely understand that, maybe even going further than they did, maybe do it like 10 till 6 or whatever, that kind of thing. Completely understandable. But to turn around again and just be like, no, business all shut down, no one makes any money, you're all back home again, you're all doing nothing again.
Yeah, it's for me that just that list there. I don't know how 100% accurate it is. This is a news.
End of the day, it's a newspaper article.
Newspaper.
Yeah.
Newspapers aren't always honest, but I'm just going by what I can see here.
100%.
The fact that we've shut our fucking country down for a virus that isn't going to go away in a month.
I mean, we shouldn't really be surprised every time we get a fucking snowflake fall nowadays.
I know the fucking country shuts down.
Everyone starts crying and the whole country cries.
But 690 deaths. They're deaths that maybe could have been avoided. Don't get me wrong.
The thing is,
you are always going to have viruses that kill people.
The thing is, in comparison, right, 690 deaths, yeah. That, don't get me wrong, obviously that is a substantial number, and those people meant something to someone. You know, those were lives at the end of the day that were lost, and that's a very sad thing. You know.
But at the same, are we stopping selling sugar because it causes obesity?
And at the same time, you know, are we properly funding, you know, mental health research and all this other kind of stuff to try and, you know, prevent suicide and, you know, suicide prevention, all this other kind of stuff? You know, where's the money going for that? You know, how can this government turn around not even a month ago, and say we cannot provide free school meals during Christmas and this time, after they've turned around to the parents and said, no, you're not allowed to do anything, you can't go out, you can't do anything like that. If you
go to work.
If you're earning cash in hand on the side to try and pay for your kids' school meals, well, guess what? We'll find out now, because people are going around. They'll report you. And good old Dot on the twitching bloody window, you know, she'll spot you from a mile away and she'll report you, you know. So, you know, and then
because they actively told you to dob your neighbours in for having
actively
more people
told
around.
you, to a stage where people on Facebook were putting up, you know, like, I'm not going to rat you out if you live on my street and stuff like that. And the fact that we've even got to do that as a society, as a country, is
I
sad.
saw on the news, it's not round here, luckily, in the West Midlands.
Okay.
Their senior police chief, or whatever he was, said that if they think, the police there, if they think over Christmas you have got more than 6 people in your house, they can legally bust down your door to find out if there's more than 6 people in there.
Right.
Yet kids can go to school.
First of all, guys, one thing I definitely recommend, and something that I learned at a young age as well, is learn the law, learn the rules.
Oh yeah.
End of the day, if you know the rules better than the police do, which, to be honest with you, nowadays I don't feel it's that hard.
You're right.
Yeah. And the reality is the system is there to support both you and them. You need to learn the system to be able to support yourself in that sense. So they cannot come in your house without a warrant. You do not have to open the door to them unless they have a valid reason to make you open the door. You do not have to.
But that's what they're saying.
You do not have to continue a conversation.
Bash your fucking door down.
Honestly, at that point you could potentially be pushing for criminal charges, because unless they've got a valid reason, unless they've got a warrant that is signed by some kind of court official or some kind of high-ranking officer, they cannot just do that. They can't just kick your door in for no reason.
No, definitely not.
Don't get me wrong, if they thought you had guns or something in there or something like that, they can act on intent.
Yeah, but that's a bit different, isn't it?
But yeah, that's the thing, is that's the whole point of it. Act on intent is there.
Because we've actually gone up to a severe terror threat now, haven't we?
Mm-hmm.
Which is pretty fucking convenient.
Well, the thing is, all of this stuff that was happening 4 or 5 years ago, you know, all these people that came back, all that stuff that happened, that hasn't just disappeared. None of this has just gone away. Don't get me wrong, people have stopped talking about it, and it's not in the forefront of our minds right now, but at the same time, it's still there 100%, and the risk is going to be there now basically forever.
Do you remember the fucking, was it like hand, foot and mouth, or fucking swine flu or Ebola or whatever it was a few years back?
Ebola.
It's like, as soon as people stopped fucking talking about it, people got on with their lives and just carried on. And what's the difference between Ebola and this? Obviously, I'm no virologist, but I mean, to me, it's a virus. Viruses kill people. It's unfortunate viruses kill people, but people still need to get on with their lives.
To me, from my standpoint, the only reason I can see the difference between Ebola and this is basically Ebola research has been there for a long time. Obviously, Ebola virus has changed a lot, and they've obviously done a lot of, you know, research into that and that kind of thing. But yeah, obviously, I think that comes down to it, is the fact they've researched Ebola, they know Ebola, and, you know, the facts are kind of a bit more clear. Whereas I think when all this COVID stuff happened, it was more a case of like, okay, holy shit, you know, this is going on. I mean, actually, I've got a really interesting one. And I actually showed Lewis this the other day, and there's actually a video out there. In fact, some of you might even have seen it if you're an avid loose women watcher, which I am not, but I saw it on the internet. And
do you love a loose woman?
Oh well,
no.
What can I say? But this lady had gone on to Loose Women, and she was a scientific researcher from China, and she'd basically gone into hiding, and she was on Loose Women basically turning around and saying like, this is a government made virus, it came from a lab, like this did not come from meat.
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
I watched London Real, which is started off as a podcast. It's run by an American guy called Brian Rose, who's been living in the UK for a long time. He's actually running for London's mayor now, because he's like, the science behind this fucking outbreak is absolute bollocks. The way this country has been decimated is absolute bollocks.
It's awful.
And this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to run for mayor just so I have a little bit of a say in how we can put good science behind this and bring our economy back. And he done an interview. He's done interviews with David Icke, who I was speaking to Andrew about actually. David Icke is a whistleblower and in quotation marks conspiracy theorist.
Right.
I would fucking love to talk to him. He has been telling people about what the government have been trying to do for decades, and everything that he's written about, and everything that he said about how they're going to use something like a virus to control the population through fear is coming to fruition. And
mad.
Anyway, you've got to watch some of his stuff. Some of the stuff he says is just, it's like absolute bullshit. And it disappoints me when he says stuff that's bullshit or that sounds mental, because it detracts from the truth that he's actually going through, or his perceived truth that he's going through. He was on London Real. It was live streamed on YouTube. Within 10 minutes it was taken down.
Oh wow.
Yep. Alex Jones as well, a whistleblower, conspiracy theorist in quotation marks, has been deplatformed by Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, fucking Instagram, all of them.
Because he was part of this whole fake news movement in America, wasn't he? And they pulled him off the shelf. Yeah, I remember that.
But Brian Rose, going back to it, Brian Rose interviewed that Chinese lady, and she's like, I've studied this virus, and there are markers on it that do not come from nature. It might be a conspiracy theory, I don't know, but people need to do their own research.
I mean, from what I gathered, she was a scientific researcher that had worked in China, and like you say, she'd had first-hand experience with the virus herself. I mean, again, like you say, at the end of the day, guys, we don't know if this is 100% fact or not. We don't know if this is just some, Chinese women thinking, I'll play a prank on everyone, and we don't know.
We don't have a fucking clue.
But
you just go by the information you're given, and then try and cross-reference it with
it's an interesting thing to look into. I'll tell you what's another crazy bit of information for you. Did you know, I think it was like 2, maybe 4 years ago, Boris Johnson's dad wrote a book about a man-made virus that controls people, and basically they had to go, like, the government ends up like taking over and taking power and taking control, from what I gather.
That's mental.
So yeah, like the whole punchline of the storyline is basically COVID.
Yeah.
So like, again, a lot of these things are probably just convenience, but at the same time you can't help but point out these funny facts and these
talking about something else that's fucking mental, going off of COVID, because we talked about that for a little while.
Definitely.
Kanye West running for US president actually got 690 votes.
I can't believe it. I genuinely cannot. The thing is, though, how many of that was like people on his Instagram and like
just
people
really fucking stoned, as like, yeah, I'm gonna vote. Yeah. I don't like anyone else. I'm just gonna vote for.
But also, let's be honest. How much would you put it past Kanye that he just like goes to the hood or something like that and just drops a bag full of money and it's like, look, go vote for me.
Go vote for me.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I really wouldn't put that past someone like Kanye. I mean, the guy is nuts.
Him and Jennifer Aniston had a spat on Twitter.
She actually put up a thing like, it's not funny to vote for Kanye.
Yeah, and he wrote back, Friends wasn't funny.
Friends wasn't funny either. Which is a lie. Friends is hilarious.
Yeah, Friends is fucking hilarious. One of my favourite episodes of Friends is the one with Brad Pitt in it. where he comes in looking all fucking sexy Brad Pitt, and everyone's like going crazy, and then he's just there just to wind up fucking Rachel.
Monica.
Yeah, because Rachel
was
used to fucking bully him.
And he's like, just give me the cake, yeah, and just starts eating it with his hand, yeah. Oh,
more
there were
sad
some good
news.
ones. Go on.
Sean Connery has died.
Oh yes, this is horrible, guys. I mean, I don't know about you guys. I remember when I was a kid. I think one of the first Bond movies I ever saw was the original Sean Connery Bond movies. You know, the original DB5. You know, that was. I still remember that as being such a cult car and a cult classic. You know, and I mean, so he's such a diverse actor as well. Do you know what I mean? And he's done so many different things.
You know, he got killed by IKEA furniture. He only had his shelf to play him. That was a terrible joke. It's fucking horrendous.
That's quite good though. Mate, it's like the jokes on the back of penguins, mate. They're awful, but at the same time you just can't help but laugh.
But no, I liked Sean Connery. I liked him. He played the voice of the dragon in Dragonheart.
Yes, he did. Yes.
He was in fucking Highlander with a terrible fucking Scottish accent. No, he was like an Italian in it, I think, actually, in Highlander. He was only in it at the beginning. He was one of the immortals that got killed.
Yes, I do remember. Yes.
Yeah, he was just all round fucking quality person. He was
The
like
Rock,
90,
that was a great movie. He did Indiana Jones, didn't he?
He did, yeah.
Yeah, that was a great one.
Just absolute legend.
He's had some great tributes as well, and some, you know, some lovely
and a fucking
people.
handsome devil. A bit rapey in the Bonds though, weren't he?
Well, yeah.
The bit where she asks him for a towel and he just walks in and drops it on the floor.
Yeah, exactly. The thing is though, you've got to bear in mind, I mean, you can do this now. Like Little Britain, if you watch Little Britain now, it's so inappropriate to what it was when Little Britain came out. Do you know what I mean? You couldn't
love it though.
You couldn't release that now. Do you know what I mean? In the climate we're in. And it's the same, you know, with stuff like that. It's, you know, what, 30, 40 years ago at this point? Do you know what I mean? Like, it was such a long time ago. You can't judge a man for that.
Just on his IMDb.
Oh, okay.
You know, he played King Richard in Robin Hood, the Prince of Thieves.
No,
right at the end. He was uncredited, but yeah, he played that.
That's mad. I actually genuinely never knew that.
What else was he in that was fucking incredible?
Oh, he's been in some stuff, man. He's been in some stuff.
Time Bandits, that was done by Terry Gilliam, I think. Yeah, Gilliam, yeah, he was. With fucking Shelley Duvall, who was in The Shining, and John Cleese. I met John Cleese.
Oh, John Cleese, yeah, what a guy.
Yeah, but yeah, fucking rest in peace, Sean Connery. Guy's a fucking legend.
What a legend, man. Yeah, honestly, mad respect for that guy. He's done some great stuff, and the beauty of the industry that he was in and the medium that he did is that, similar to this, I suppose, it's always going to be there. Do you know what I mean? That content is never going to go away, and you know.
And he's someone that you can just watch and watch and watch.
At least as well, do you know what I mean? At least his grandkids, or you know, his kids or his great grandkids. I mean, I don't know how big a family he has, or if he had any family at all. Unfortunately, I don't know. But I mean, at least that's something they can look back on, and you know, that was granddad,
legacy,
that was great grand. Do you know what I mean? And yeah, exactly.
You imagine that, Sean Connery being your fucking granddad.
Oh, it's mental. I mean,
your granddad is James Bond.
I mean, I don't know. The sad thing is, with a lot of actors, probably similar to himself as well. I mean, luckily he still had kind of a career into his later ages. But you know, he probably made a lot of his money when he was, you know, younger, and then you know, you got to then live off that forever. You know, I mean, I wondered this before. This is probably taking a random tangent, but you know, YouTube guys, you know, when you get past sort of 30 into your 30s, into your 40s,
it sort of kills it,
and you start to become a bit more irrelevant. Well, then what happens then? You know, does your channel just die? You know, is that your sole income base? And because there's some massive YouTubers out there that are getting to that point now where they're nearly in their 30s now. So, you know, it's just going to be interesting to see what happens with that kind of content. And also, all of this stuff is evolving. You know, TikTok has kind of made a whole new kind of level of content with these, you know, 30-second videos and stuff like that, and you know, these voiceovers of other videos, of other clips, of, you know, and all this kind of stuff, and it allows people to be able to create and randomly make content.
So I wanted to just interject there about other wonderful actors.
Yep, go on.
And one of them being Richard Harris. Richard Harris he was a thespian, done a lot of theatre work,
right,
and he done a lot of movies. But he played Albus Dumbledore in the first 2 Harry Potter films, and this guy was a fucking nutcase. Literally, there's a fucking documentary about him and Peter O'Toole on YouTube, and it's called Hellraisers. And these people is Peter O'Toole, Richard Harris, and the guy that was in Oliver, the movie that played Bill Sykes. I can't remember. He was in Gladiator as well. Looks like my uncle.
Oh, I know the one you mean. Yeah, I can't remember his name now.
So these guys were fucking pissheads. They would shag anything that moved. They would turn up and do whatever the fuck they wanted. And I've been trying to go through and find some of the stories, because him in that Hellraisers movie, like some of the quotes that he comes out with is just unbelievable. I'm just going to try and find some, because mate,
it's funny because
for a guy that played Albus Dumbledore,
there's some people you look at, and I tell you what, I think it's the same with women as well sometimes, you know. I think often it's the ones that you think are going to be the best behaved, you know, the good ones, end up being the bad ones, do you know what I mean? End up being the naughty ones.
And they were as well.
Oh, it don't surprise me at all, mate.
So I've got some quotes here. And it's one like, I formed a new group called Alcoholics Unanimous. If you don't feel like a drink, you ring another member and he comes over to persuade you.
I feel like that's just being a young guy.
This one. No one trusts me anymore. I spent half the movie of Margaret, 1988, arguing with people, and I was accused of causing big onset rows. But what they won't tell you is I fought Simeonen. I fought for the maintenance of quality, and I don't believe in lying. So he was like, yep, no worries. I'll cause as many fights as I can. It was like, someone left a cake out in the rain. I don't think that I can take it, because it took too long to bake, but I'll never have that recipe again. Oh no. This guy's he's a fucking nightmare.
Brilliant.
Like everything, it's like, many kids turn to selling drugs. It's not a good career choice, but they see it as an easy way to get money.
I mean, he's not wrong. He's not wrong. Oh, shout out to all the roadmen out there.
Yeah, I will leave it with this one for Richard Harris.
Go on.
I don't drink because I have problems or I want an escape. I just love drinking and being drunk.
And that's okay.
This is Albus Dumbledore. This is the guy that played Albus, and he didn't want to take the role, right? And then his granddaughter was like, if you don't take this role, I'm never going to speak to you again.
Oh
no, it's fucking...
Oh, that's heartbreaking in itself.
Oh, mate, the guy's quality.
Oh, like what a legend. There's some great actors out there. I'll tell you what, you know, when we lose people like Morgan Freeman and you're only supposed to play blood deals of his name now. Michael Kayne.
Michael Kayne. Fucking want some, mate. That's more like the guy from Tom Hardy from the fucking...
Yeah, I was about to say, you sound more like Tom Hardy from Legend. Yeah, trying to play.
Come here for a fucking shootout. This one, I'll leave it with this one. I often sit back and think, I wish I'd done that, and find out later I already have. It just shows how fucking pissed he was all the time, and he loved it because he had money, he had women. It was the 60s, and no one give a shit.
And you know what, you could do whatever you like.
You could say what you want, do what you want. Didn't matter.
The sad thing is, there's a lot of people from that era that lived like that. You know, like Ozzy Osbourne. I mean, luckily, obviously, he turned his life around. You know, you got like the guys.
Yeah, only because he fucking nearly died.
No, yeah, I mean, you got like the guys from AC/DC and stuff like that. You know, he was. I think it was only about 5-10 years ago. He was admitted to fucking. He was taken in because he was sniffing bloody petrol.
Really?
And diesel and stuff like that. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Ozzy?
No, it wasn't Ozzy. That was one of the guys from AC/DC.
I can't remember.
Brian Johnson.
Was it?
Yep.
Really?
Yep.
Didn't one of them? Johnson. Oh no, it's like the old guitar player that died, wasn't it?
Yep. Yeah. Well then, yeah. I mean, there's so many people like that lived in an era where, you know, there was no such thing as a camera. You know, people didn't have phones. You know,
they couldn't film you doing stupid shit and post it on the internet.
Exactly. I mean, this is the thing, guys. Is, you know, it's not. We live in a new age. You know, even, you know, dating and stuff like that isn't what it was. You know, you know, people don't really go out to meet people anymore. You know, nowadays people do that from the comfort of their living room online. You know, which I suppose there's nothing wrong with at the end of the day. But at the same time, you know, how can you ever get a judge of that person from flicking through 4 or 5 pictures if you're lucky, you know? It's a crazy world we live in.
Fucking mental. I'm just looking for Peter O'Toole quotes as well, because this guy was a fucking legend.
I bet that's crazy.
He was in The Hateful Eight. He played the old guy in the wheelchair.
Yes.
Yeah, he was in that. But I can't find him. If you've got time, just go onto YouTube and watch Hellraisers, because it's fucking amazing.
I must admit, I think that's something I'm gonna have to watch.
Actors now, like, well, I was watching stuff. We'll get to Borat 2 later, but like some of the stuff, actors will say something now, and they'll get fucking banned from movies, and they won't get they get fucking blacklisted, and these cunts just said and did exactly what they wanted.
I mean, this is the crazy thing, you know, is now people are getting judged in an industry for something they might have done 20 years ago.
I know.
You know, and don't get me wrong, in some of these situations, you know, like the Harvey Weinstein situation, stuff like that, don't get me wrong, you know,
they should be fucking prosecuted.
These accusers are coming out, they're telling their truth, they're getting their day in court, you know, and all of that stuff is great, and that needs to happen 100%. You know, if anyone out there, you know, listening or anything like that is obviously suffering in their own way, you know,
there's always help out there.
Exactly. You know, there are ways that you can do this kind of things anonymously. You know, you don't necessarily have to put yourself down on record. You know, there are avenues out there, and there's mental health places and things you can do to help yourself. So
I'll tell you what.
I'll tell you what. Going on to new stuff at the moment, truth seekers, mate.
Oh, we'll get to that after. I just want to get onto Cyberpunk. So I said.
Oh yes.
I said a couple of weeks ago that I was really excited for Cyberpunk 2077 to come out.
I've been looking at the trailers.
It went gold. So that means the game's finished, it's done, and this is a game I've been waiting a long fucking time for. Yeah,
it's ready to go.
And they've delayed it till the 10th of December.
So they can get their sales. Yeah.
No, well, it's not for that. It's because they're still constantly improving it, and they figured, you know what, we're just going to put a little bit more extra effort in, and go from there.
It's one of those,
I fucking hope
things.
It's worth it.
I think the whole industry in general has learnt from the age of buggy Bethesda. Do you know what I mean? And Fallout 76 and Fallout 4.
That was horrendous. You know, and
literally
within a month of that coming out, it was half price.
It was literally unplayable for someone who played it early access, and for someone who played the game. And from a lover of Bethesda like myself, I was actually insulted to the fact.
You'll still be able to play them. Bethesda got bought by fucking Xbox. Microsoft,
I was actually insulted by the fact that they would actually release a game like that for the general public. And then to make it worse, I was even more insulted to the fact that they took like £70 of my money for a game that did not work. For like the first 3 weeks, it was unplayable garbage. I mean, even if you could get on a server, which was almost impossible,
it was shit.
And people were getting banned randomly, left, right, and centre, and it was.
And do you know what disappoints me about that? Right, me and a friend of ours, James, during the last lockdown, I need to start playing it again. We started playing a game called 7 Days to Die.
Yeah.
So it cost me like 13 quid.
It's quite an old game now.
It's still an alpha game.
Yeah,
they haven't updated it at all, so it can be a bit buggy. But for a fucking game that was like 13 quid, it is amazing.
Oh,
and essentially, it's Minecraft, but with zombies. So for instance, you'll get a what's it called? You start off in like a wasteland, and this wasteland has got different territories. So you've got like a tundra, you've got a desert, you've got cityscapes, you've got forests, and you have to mine and salvage everything you need to build up a base.
I think I've seen some playthroughs of that, because there's buildings and stuff, isn't there? And you can loot buildings.
What we did, I said to James randomly, I was like, I really want to find a church, because it's always been my dream. If I won the lottery or something like that, I would buy a church and convert it inside so it's all modern. So it looks like a church from the outside, but the inside looks sick. So I was like, let's go and find a fucking church. So we found this abandoned church in the middle of the map, decked it out, put fucking bedrooms in it, added a story to it, put fucking turrets round it and fucking spikes and shit. And every 7 days in game, a horde of zombies tries to kill you. Yeah. And it doubles every time.
Yeah.
So we're literally building this thing up. Like, you can start taking the wood bits of the church out and putting iron blocks in, and then
concrete
steel and
stuff,
concrete, and it's just fucking sick. And that's a game that was never finished, but still played really fucking well compared to Fallout 76 that was just garbage.
Absolutely, honestly, it just it was just throwaway. It was trash. It wasn't even a game. Even now, they've released it for free on Xbox if you've got Game Pass.
Yeah.
And it's not even worth downloading for Game Pass. It's just not even worth it. Even now they've gone back and they've fixed it. I mean, the discredit to them should be the fact that Outer Worlds, which was released from basically the people that left Bethesda and were like, we want nothing to do with you, they made Outer Worlds on basically the exact same game generator and the exact same world generator. And there was no bugs, no damage. The only bad thing about that game was that there was someone who'd figured out a way that you could complete a playthrough of the game within like 8 minutes.
Really? Christ.
Basically what you had to do is you had to full on sprint to certain locations, you had to get certain things, and then you could just end the game by killing everyone essentially.
Nice.
And that was it. And someone had figured out that you could do that within like 8 minutes. Yeah, there was like a speed run of that game, which was stupid. I mean, look at Minecraft. You know, Minecraft is a game that came out like 10, 15, 20 years. I don't even know how long ago.
Not 20 years ago.
Probably
Christ,
20
PlayStation.
years ago, yeah.
First PlayStation come out 25 years. I think Minecraft come out about 4 or 5 years ago.
Oh no, it's got to be older than that now.
I'm telling you.
It's got to be older
check
than
it,
that.
mate. Get your phone out.
I'm gonna have to. Yeah, it's definitely older than that.
But I mean, telling me about Watchdog Legion. I've never played a Watchdog game.
Right. So I mean, for anybody out there who's played Watch Dogs, I mean, it's a great game. So the only way I can think of explaining Watch Dogs is like, it's kind of like the old Assassin's Creed games where you've got goals, targets to achieve, and you're moving around an open world, but you're still in like an enclosed map.
Yeah.
But like, instead of your assassin's tools, you've got like hacker tools, so you can like hack someone's phone, or you could like hack a
security cameras and banks
a speed bump to come up, and then obviously the car smashes into it. You can hack cars that are like self-driving cars and stuff like that.
That sounds sick.
All sorts of stuff like that. But this new one has taken it to a whole new level. So essentially, it's basically what we're living in now, I suppose, is a lockdown London that's being controlled by a fascist government, essentially, from what I gather.
Like 1984.
Well, honestly, it looks mad. It looks absolutely mad, and there are people that can, like, you can hack delivery drones and stuff, and you can like fly around and deliver. It looks craziness, honestly.
I'll have to give that a go.
But from what the bit I like is that your storyline isn't dependent on like playing as one character. There are multiple characters, and you can recruit anyone at any time to the Legion.
A bit like GTA.
Yeah, kind of like GTA with a multiple character story, but also if you wanted to, from what I gather, if you wanted to, you could do the whole thing as one person if you wanted to, or you could play each section or each part as a different person, and each person has a plus and a minus, and you know, one plus might not necessarily benefit the other one's minus. So yeah, honestly, it looks like a really good game. It's got some really good playthrough. I'm actually looking really excited for that. I think that's going to be a good one for Christmas, and yeah, I think I've definitely spend my money on that. That looks like a good one. The only way I can explain it is like they've taken this new one, like what they did with like GTA 5. They've like ramped it up, like 100%.
Games like the new games that are coming out on PS5 and Xbox Series X, is it? Are going to be sick. Like, they're going to be so fucking
well, this
good.
is what I like now, is that a lot of the games that are coming out now, they've sort of turned around and gone like, okay, well, we need to now make these games ready for the next generation of console. So they've gone back and, you know, graphics have been changed and upgraded, and, you know, all these kind of other things have been done, and I think it's great.
It will be good.
It's an awesome
I'm
thing.
looking forward to playing that, actually.
Yeah, there's going to be some really good games coming out, and I mean, the new Assassin's Creed Valhalla, have you seen that?
Mate, that's going to be so fucking sick.
That looks really good. I'm really excited for that.
I played Black Flag a little bit, but my favourite fucking Assassin's Creed was 3, because you played as like a American Indian.
Oh yes.
And you could climb trees and chuck tomahawks and shit at people.
Yeah,
that for me was just fucking quality.
Yeah, the Tomahawk. That was a good one. Well, I've played pretty much all of them fairly religiously. The only one I didn't play was the most recent one, which was Odyssey, which is annoying because they actually changed the gameplay up completely for Odyssey, and they're using that same gameplay to carry across with Valhalla.
Nice.
So it plays very differently like it did before.
It plays more like Witcher.
Yes.
And Witcher 3 is still my all-time favourite game.
Yes.
Out of every game I've ever played, Witcher 3 is the best fucking game I've ever played in my life.
I think this is it. I think Assassin's Creed have tried to do a very similar thing to what Witcher did, and they tried to release movies, and they've tried to sort of make a story out of it, and they've tried to, you know, make. I think even now, I think Netflix or Amazon Prime or one of these.
Netflix are doing an
anime series on it now. Yeah.
That movie with Michael Fassbender was wank.
I mean, that's the thing.
They swayed too far away from the game story.
Yeah, exactly. There was so much potential there from so many of the game stories. I mean, Ezio Auditore was probably one of the
second
best and the richest game story, because they made 3 games off of that one story, because they made. The second one, they made Brotherhood.
Was the second one.
Brotherhood. Well, no, because
Altair was the first one.
Ezio was the second one, but then they made Brotherhood, which was still part of the same story, and they did another one that was Ezio as well. I can't remember which one that was.
Ezio was good, because that's where you could meet Da Vinci and use his flying machine and stuff. You were going to say about Truth Seekers. I haven't watched Truth Seekers. I don't mind spoilers, so then here's your spoiler warning.
Yeah, spoiler alert,
but
guys.
It's Simon Pegg and Nick Frost.
It's Simon Pegg, it's Nick Frost. They're back as a team, guys. Oh my god, it takes me back to like being a kid again.
Is it scary or is it funny as fuck?
There are bits that are genuinely, because
it's about paranormal investigators that don't believe in the supernatural, right?
As you know, I'm a bit of a jumpy guy. I don't normally react very much, but I will, you know, if something shocks me, I will jump at stuff. And you know, we've been to movies and stuff, and you've seen me jump out my skin, bless you, you know. So you know, I'm a bit jumpy, but I'm not one of these ones that, you know, screams and, you know, hides behind the sofa. But at the same time, there were bits in that where I've genuinely, like, holy shit, like, it freaked the fuck out of me. So there's a bit, right, where the doll is possessed by, like, this serial killer woman who killed 12 men, but like it's talking to him, and like it's snuck like Nick Frost off. And like it's talking to him, and it talks to him in the voice of his dead wife and shit.
Oh,
and
mate, that's
it messed with my head, saying chronic, like it was freaky. But there's some bits in that are genuine, like quite horrifying. But at the same time, there are bits that you can't help but like wet yourself, because his comedy is just quality.
I love stuff like that.
And there's some great guys in this. I don't know a lot of the other people that are in it. I'll be honest, they're not big names. Obviously, like Simon Frost and like Simon Pegg and Nick Frost.
Another film that Nick Frost was in was Attack the Block, which was about a gang of Utes in London.
Yeah, in a tower block. Yeah.
In a tower block with a fucking alien invasion.
Oh, mate.
That was John Boyega. That was one of his first films. That was his
first major release, and now look how far his career has gone. I mean, that is mad on its own. Yeah. Considering that was a movie that was funded by the National Lottery at the time as well.
Was it Channel 4?
Yeah, it was funded by the National Lottery, that movie, at the time. And no one thought it was going to do well at all, and it actually did pretty fucking good for what was classed as an urban movie at the time. So
just to round this off, last conversation, Borat's subsequent movie film.
Oh my god!
For me, this was very. I love a conspiracy theory, right?
Yeah.
And for me, this seemed very rushed. Don't get me wrong, it's fucking funny.
Oh yeah.
But it seemed very rushed and very political.
Yes.
Like the fact that it's like, oh yeah, it's like he starts talking about like adrenochrome and fucking pedo rings with Hillary, trying to fob it off like it's a joke. Yeah. For me, well, that was a bit like, well,
there was convenience I've
read a lot of shit about this, and I can't confirm or deny if it's actually true, because people need to do their own research. All I know is the public dissonance, which is where it's that bad you can't believe in it, is massive.
Oh, 100%.
I promised Lewis we won't talk about this sort of stuff, so I'm not going to dig into it.
Fair.
But just do your own research. For me, that was very convenient that they got two fucking dumb hick hillbillies that were saying it, rather than fairly educated people that have come out and said the same stuff.
I mean, this is it. I mean, also as well, the crazy thing is as well that you've got these hicks saying this stuff, and they've obviously done that on purpose. That it's coming from these hicks to make them look crazy, and the stuff they're saying is insane.
Like it's dumb as fuck.
But then, as you could clearly see in the clip where he's performing the song that the guy wrote on stage, do you remember that? And that's at the gun rally.
Yeah, and they're all a bunch of dumb hicks.
They stormed the stage in the end. I don't know if you saw that part.
No, I know it was a deleted scene.
Well, I was about to say it's a deleted scene. There's an extended clip where they stormed the stage in the end, to a stage where he actually had to physically go and hide
in his truck.
It was an ambulance. It was an ambulance they had there. Yeah, and They actually tried to open the door to get into the truck and they had to physically
because
drive
then
off.
they realise
he was wearing a bulletproof vest during that as well.
Really, they're realising that he's just trying to make them look like fools, and you could tell it was rushed because it started at the beginning of lockdown in March and come out a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
Like, that's rushed.
Oh, 100%.
That's been pushed through.
100%.
And they must have written that fairly quickly because they wouldn't have predicted that there's going to be a fucking...
Oh, definitely.
The virus
and there's
and
there was a lot of people that turned around saying they didn't get paid fairly, and a lot of people saying that they were misled about how it was all going to be made. And
the babysitter that looked after his, in quotation marks, daughter, thought they were doing a movie on human trafficking.
Well... I must admit,
which is a massive problem around the world,
especially in America, and especially with young girls. I mean, don't get me wrong; it's the same in every country, but especially
and boys,
America.
young girls.
Oh yeah, and boys. But you know, it's a worry all across the world. You know, I mean, I tell you what, it scares me seeing all these things on Facebook. I see people sharing this stuff and stuff going around. I mean, it was literally only this morning I saw a video of a guy, and he must have been in his early 20s, full grey night suit, like
in London,
Nike tracksuit,
trying to walk off with that young girl.
Kidnapped that 11-year-old, mate. She was 11.
And there's people that will do this, but that making light out of that wasn't fair. I know it's for comedy, and there was some bits where, like, shit, that bird eats the cupcake, and she goes to the doctors. It turns out to be an abortion clinic.
Oh, that bit was just
like,
so
I've got
cringy.
a baby inside me. You've got to take it out.
Yeah.
And then he's like, "Yes, I'm her father, and I put the baby in her. I just wanted to treat her." And it's like, this is really fucking weird.
Yeah.
Some bits were fucking funny, but not because they're funny, but because they're cringy as fuck.
Oh yeah,
like
there was so many bits of it that were cringy. Like
the period dance,
period blood dance,
mate. That's fucking disgusting.
I couldn't even look at one point. I had to
I'm
stop
not
looking.
fussed about bodily fluids.
No,
but
me neither. But at the same
to
time,
do that that sort of setting was like they're just they're pushing it to a stage of outrageous.
Although, did you see the bit where she got within like 50 feet of Trump, no mask, no COVID check, no security around him, like, and she was that close to Trump. And bearing in mind they'd gone in as fake news reporters and had snuck in, apparently. I don't know. Again,
no,
I
it
don't
weren't.
know
It was Michael Pence. It weren't Trump, was it?
No, I swear Trump was there. I swear Trump was at one of the rallies.
No, it was a Pence rally.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I just thought I loved the first Borat movie because the first Borat movie was the caricature of a foreign journalist that doesn't understand American culture like a lot of people, and is making light out of their culture because he doesn't understand it. Yeah. Like travelling around the fucking country with a bear in a fucking ice cream truck, and the guy's balls on his face through the hotel. That was funny as fuck.
Oh, hilarious. Absolutely
but this
hilarious.
just seemed real fucking cringy.
I mean, don't get me wrong, there was bits of it that properly made me laugh, and there were bits of it where I was genuinely
got the
belly
magnifying
laughing.
glass and the frying pan, and he's hitting the wall.
And honestly, I was creasing and stuff like that, and like the bit where they open the crate, and he's like, no, close it, and you can see the delivery guy is like, I don't want to do this, but he's hammering it still, and he's still putting the nails in. I was like that kind of stuff.
Another thing
makes me laugh all day long.
Where he's doing the facts in the shop, and the guy's reading it out. Yeah. Like, it's fucking, that was funny shit. Like, there was some really funny bits.
The book, and this made me laugh because I explained to my ex that like, if you were from like a third world country where, you know,
women were subpar to men.
Exactly, and also it was originally a communist-controlled country. They're still in that kind of stage era. They haven't really got any kind of proper government control.
They would have sort of propaganda.
They would have that kind of propaganda where it's, you know, women can't touch themselves and they can only, you know, have the pleasure of a man, and, you know, stuff like that. That's not that far out.
They can't read or drive.
Yeah, and that's not that far out.
That sounds just like the Middle East.
Exactly, that's not that far out of the realm of reality, you know. And so I can understand from people like our perspective watching that, you're like, what? That's crazy. But at the same time, there's probably people out there in the world. That's playing on a stereotype
rather than,
and that's funny.
Outrageous.
That's funny.
Just being outrageous for outrageous sake.
Or just downright disgusting. Because some of it was just downright disgusting to a stage where you're just like, actually, no, it's not even funny.
And another thing for me, right? That the big controversy and the big fucking push for marketing, the fact that Trump's lawyer put his hand down his trousers, right? if I'm a 60 or 70-year-old man, or however the fuck he is, and they tried to play that like he was trying to have sex with her.
Yeah.
And I did not see that at all. All he does is he taps her shoulder a couple of times when she's taking the mic off him, and he's sat on the bed and his shirt's untucked because he had his fucking mic strapped to him through his shirt.
I don't disagree with that at all.
And they pull his shirt out to get the mic out, and he's tucking it back in.
Yeah.
Christ,
I do agree with that.
Overweight old people and overweight people, if you can't tuck your fucking shirt in, you lay down to do it.
This is it. I mean, the thing is, I can understand why it would look bad, and the problem is with people like Rudy Giuliani and stuff like that, is it's not like this isn't necessarily something new. Like they have been accused before of stuff like this, and I suppose that's kind of the thing. Is the whole point of it is that they were
trying to bait him.
Yeah, and they probably expected something more to happen.
The thing is, because what I think they did there, they were expecting him to fall for the bait. He didn't fall for the bait, and that's why Sacha Baron Cohen, in his fucking lingerie that he was wearing, runs in. He's like, "Stop it! She's too old for you. She's 15," and chased him out the room. When clearly that's just this isn't working out how we planned. Let's fucking try and make it funny.
Well, the crazy thing is about that is then he come out a few days afterwards, Sacha Baron Cohen, as himself, not as Borat, not as a character or anything like that, but actually came out himself and was like, I genuinely felt like I had to step in for my co-star. Yeah. And I felt like if I didn't step in,
stunning, by the way.
But yeah, I must admit, I'll tell you what,
she's going makeup.
She's going to do so well from this. She's going to do so well from this, and this potentially is going to hopefully make her career. And with a bit of luck, people have been calling for her to get an Oscar for her role. And to be honest with you, for the stuff she did and for what was actually the content she created, she went 110% above and beyond. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, fair enough. And you've got to bear in mind that these storylines, these ideas, they weren't hers, but she went with it, she took the punches, and she made good content and a good, a good character.
And just to spoil it, we already put a spoiler warning on it.
We did.
So the whole fucking movie is about the Kazakhstani government using Borat to spread coronavirus around America.
Yeah.
In the middle of a pandemic that isn't as serious, I feel, isn't as serious as a lot of people want it to be.
No.
But still,
at the same time, it's not necessarily something to laugh and joke about. People have died, people have lost loved ones. It's not
like we all say funny shit, but that for me, that was like, we're gonna get back at America for laughing at us and making our country look shit by spreading a virus there.
I mean, this is the crazy thing, a country like that that's so destitute. I think they spent like $50 million or something like that on a campaign after the first Borat to prove that their country wasn't like how he said it was. Bearing in mind, this is a country with no proper healthcare system, no proper, care system at all for anyone.
They've started using his tagline as their thing. It's like Kazakhstan. It's
very nice.
Yeah, very nice.
Very nice, yeah. Which, I think that's great, and they should lean into it. Why not? They're going to get tourism from it if they do that kind of thing. Potentially they could really lean into it, and it could really help their country. But at the same time, I also understand that they don't want to be portrayed as backwater idiots.
Yeah, that's fair. I think
definitely
that's fair. So I think as it's
midnight.
Midnight. We'll leave it there.
Definitely.
So again, thank you very much for listening. As always, we would appreciate your feedback. So 100%. You can either find email us at properchap2020@gmail.com, or you can go to our website at www.podpage.com/properchat. If you're listening on YouTube, make sure you check out some of our previous episodes, and there should be some links in the top left and right hand corner.
Find us on Facebook, guys. Give us a like, give us a follow.
If you have enjoyed listening to us, just drop us a thumbs up, subscribe, and don't forget to hit the little bell on YouTube so you don't miss any future episodes. Again, we have been Ash, and
I have been Bill, and we will see you on the next one.
Yeah, we'll see you on the next one. Thank you very much.